day on Cornwall Pocket Farm. You're on camera. Look at the camera, Maggie. Look, we're on camera. Yes. Hi. So lots to do today. Yeah, I think we're going to have a hack at a bush that's hanging over the fence to start with, because it's they're not big on gardening next door, so I have full remit to sort of hack anything back that comes over the fence. So that's the first job, probably. And then we've got a few things to sow, haven't we, Maggie? There's a huge long list. I always have an enormous list, and then only manage about 3 or 4 of them. Maggie's as keen as mustard, aren't you? Are you as keen as mustard, Maggie? Yeah, not so much. Is it comfy there? Okay. So yeah, I'll put this down, change my boots, and we'll get out there and do some stuff. See you in a bit. Right, and in extra news, we decided that we could use a bit more of the wood that I found on the side of the road to do some edges. I'll spin you around a little bit, but you see on the edges of these beds how I've got some sort of old decking timber there, which I put in a few months ago, and it really helped. A bit of rebar and then some screws. Put it in because it stops the beds, the birds, I can see, but the birds basically used to dig up all of this side, so it just used to slope into the path. So those boards were really great. But you can see here on the edges there, you can see how this here doesn't have an edge, and you can see what the birds do to it. So I needed just a little bit more to do sort of the edges of Crystal Palace, and then the corners as well. So in the corners here, same thing. So I want to take this piece here all the way around and then take it up and along to there. So there were some other bits that I didn't take last time, which were not in brilliant nick, not as good as the good wood that I got for my project. So anyway, the husband went back this weekend and picked up the sort of slightly more dodgy bits, but that's going to be perfect for edging Crystal Palace. So this here is the offending bush. It's coming right over the top of the plum tree that we've got planted there, and it really just needs a good hack back. It also is going right onto the pavement as well, so I might go out and just trim that back as well. And then tomorrow, Saturday, and we'll probably get the mulcher out and run it all through the mulcher, because the material has to be fresh cut wood to go through the mulcher properly. It's only a little mulch. It was a cheap one from Bunnings. It does the job, but it doesn't take any big grunty stuff, so we have to do it while it's still wet. Anyway, so I'll get on with that, get some tools, and start attacking it. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a trick, because I'm going to have to climb in that plum. Not quite sure. This yeah, could take a few different approaches. Big tools, little tools, ladders. We'll see where we get to. I should also introduce you to my favourite new tool. This ladder I can pick up with one hand. It's made of fiberglass. Our old ladder is really big and heavy, and you have to sort of bend and snap all these different bits out. And it was really difficult to carry around, and I actually hurt my shoulder. And after a very expensive trip to an ultrasound and an x-ray and all the sort of things to find that I'd got a cyst in my shoulder from damaging myself on this ladder, I decided it was time to get something that was going to be a bit more future-proofed if I was going to be getting up and down. So this is great. It's got a really nice platform on the top. It's got a clippy thing. I'm not selling it, by the way. I just think it's wonderful. It's got a clippy piece on the bottom, so you know when you've got to the bottom step. It's got a really nice platform, and then I can lean into here. And it has a little tool rack at the top. So I love my new ladder. Anyway, what else have I got? So I've got my lopper on a pole thing. It's really awkward to use, so I prefer not to. If I can manage it. Usually the pieces fall down and hit me on the head. So yeah, got to figure out what I can use there. Got my ordinary loppers and my wood saw. We'll have to see what I need when I get in there. I should also say that I really can't see any way of filming this without you just seeing the rear end of me. So I'll do my best, but But yeah, I think there's just going to be a bit more on my backside. But anyway, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Drop my saw. Go and get it. Got my saw. And reciprocally, I've just seen that our elderberry has gone through the fence, so I'm going to take that off on our side. Job done. Just going to mulch it now. So the next job is I want to clear this bed. It's got some old cosmos and again some more nasturtiums in it, so I just need to clear that out. I've got some spinach to go in it and some other seedlings that I'm potting on, which will go in it soon. So again, I'm just going to move the pumpkins over to the side because they're still not dried off. I'm going to bring them in at some point, but anyway, I'm moving to the side for the time being, and then just try and prep this bed a little bit, because this is the last bed that hasn't been prepped yet, and obviously it's one of my 2 sunny winter beds, so I want to get some stuff into it, being that we're in the last month of autumn. And we have some alyssum. We have lots of alyssum. Again, it's something that just grows everywhere and just keeps coming back, which is great. And also we have mondo grass everywhere. I suppose all the neighbours have got this sort of designer grass everywhere, and it self-seeds like the devil. So I mean, no. I didn't plant this. It's dreadful stuff. I have to get a trowel to get that out because it just doesn't go away. I suppose that's why they have it in these low, no maintenance gardens, is that it just stays there. It's bulletproof. I need have some self-seeded cosmos in this bed, and I will leave those in. I like to have flowers all the way through the veggies for the pollinators, but I also do have this huge great old gnarly one which is from the summer, which has fallen over and it's self-seeding everywhere and just keeps going. So most of the time I just snip things off at the ground and leave everything in the soil, so the roots all rot down naturally, and I disturb the soil as little as possible, and then just put more material on the top. That is a big gnarly cosmos. Oh, and it's self-seed. Look at that. It falls over and then grows roots. Amazing. That's a new one, so that can stay. Yeah, quite a few little weeds in here too. They all need to come in. The ground is quite dry. We haven't had much rain at all. I have actually had the irrigation on these beds the last few days. We're hopefully getting rain on Sunday, but at the moment, very dry. I do have a couple of things in here. I have a couple of sprouting broccolis that have been really eaten by the snails. So I've got one protected with a plastic bottle and the other one just about holding its own. So we'll see how they do. I do have sort of grass that grows in, because I use a lot of grass clippings for mulching the garden. So they grow, but only a little bit like that, so I either cover them with mulch or dig them up, and they don't seem to take over. This is the other thing I use to mulch, particularly under the pumpkins and large plants, is I use this wool. It's recycled wool from you know, the wool industry in New Zealand, and it's used as a packaging material around some systems that we have, where it's like a My Food bag, they call it, or there are lots of different sorts, and essentially they deliver a box of food with the recipes to make it. So it's sort of like a deconstructed dinner delivered to your door, and the stuff that needs to be kept cool is delivered with this around it. My neighbours, or several of my neighbours, those neighbours and those neighbours, they have the My Food bag, so when they get this insulation, they give it to me, and it comes in a plastic wrapper, but I just pull the plastic wrapper off and you can put that in a soft plastic recycle. But this stuff is amazing for the garden because it's just wool, so rots down really well, and it does suppress the weeds really well, and it's free. To be honest, this pumpkin has dried off quite a lot, so I'm going to take this one inside. Right, so nice pumpkin. And this one as well, yay! We've had a couple of cold nights, just the last couple of nights has been really chilly, and I think that's actually just killed off some of these vines, which is great. That one's almost dried off, but it's got new leaves, so I'll leave it a little bit longer and see what it wants. So I've just got that one, and then two over there, but I will check the other one because that may have died off as well. I don't think the big one will have done, but the small one may have done. Yep, this one's dried off as well, so just clean it up, and then that can go in too. Bring you back when I've got it all sorted. Okay, so got some really lovely compost out of the chicken run, and today I think I'm just going to prepare this bed and leave this one for another day because it's starting to get a bit cold and dark. So I'm just going to put this out here and then try and get my spinach seedlings in. I've just got 6 spinach seedlings, so I'll just prep this. This is what we call bed 3A, B and C. So 3A, I'm just going to prep this with some compost. Actually, I'll take you along and you can see what I'm doing. Hello, ladies. Hello. Yeah. I've come to get some more lovely compost. I have. Are you going to help? This is sort of why I need a sieve, because I'm just moving bits of stick and rocks, but mostly it's just beautiful, fine, lovely compost with a few big sticks in it. When we'll take the compost out of here wholesale at some point because it's getting nearer to the winter now, and what we want to do is we'll get, I've got somebody I know, an arborist, who would just drop us a whole pile of wood chips on our driveway, and we basically bring it in and we put it on the paths that you can see between the kitchen garden beds, and there it sort of composts in place, and after a year or two it's good enough that we can put it on the veg beds, but in here it's quite quick to break down, and I put it in here. I put it in here because it keeps the soil dry, it keeps it dry for the girls, and it gives them something to sort of kick about and find bugs in, and they love it. So a lot of this would be the wood chips from last year, and that they've broken down, and also the garden scraps that go over there. Don't know if you can see, but you know, when they usually sit on the compost pile, they're kicking that through and turning it, and at a certain point when it's broken down enough, I turf it down this end, and then they break it up finally to this level, and then, you know, microorganisms and good stuff finish the job. There you go. The spinach should have gone out quite a while ago, so I'm hoping they're going to be okay. How many have I got? guys. Where are my pipes? Where are my pipes? They should be falling there. Aha, there's my pipe. Where they all fall out. Okay, so there we go, all planted out and tucked up in their plastic bottles with stones around it. So the plastic bottles have the bottoms cut out of them. I use them in the summer upside down to water the squash, the pumpkins, things like that, to give them extra water to their roots. And then obviously now I'm using them to protect young seedlings from the slugs and snails that live in this wall. So the idea of the rosemary was that apparently slugs and snails won't climb over rosemary. This is not true. But anyway, hopefully that will allow them to have a good start. I've given them good water in and now they're tucked up for the night. So fingers crossed they'll make it through and we'll see them in the morning.